man. We are back with another edition of the Great Hip Hop Debates brought to you by the good folks over here at XXL. You know me, I'm your host, your boy Torae. To my left is the lovely Vanessa Satin, editor-in-chief of XXL. What up, V?
What's up?
Chilling. So we got a nice room full of special people today. And when I say special, I do mean short yellow bus style. We got my man, you might see him in the sex room. You might have seen him on This Is 50 or Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon. I'm talking about the one, the only, the strip club veteran, my man Jack Thriller. What up, bye?
Hey, man, I'm out here, man. You know about me. Ladies, holla at your boy, at Jack Thriller.
I didn't notice the hat till right now.
Yo, in the shirt. Understood. Respect. Respect the coordination.
If I didn't know you, I'd think you were creepy.
And now that you know him, you know he's creepy. Word. So before we introduce our next guest, let me just say I was downstairs, right? I was coming up. Security was downstairs. They was checking me in, and they were talking. They was like, "Yo, did you see the guy upstairs with the? Did you see the guy in the lobby with the strip club veteran shirt?" And the other dude was like, "Yeah, and he had the hat too." And of all the things in this building, all the offices, and I knew it was, I was like, Jack Thriller. Jack Thriller is here. So yes, Jack Thriller is here. And of course, we got the feature presentation. You can hear him tearing down the radios right here in New York City, beating down them clubs all the time, and moving around with the lovely Mariah Carey. Hey, boo. Talking about my guy, the feature presentation, Sus One.
What up? What up?
What up, Sus?
What's cracking?
Chilling, man. Good to see you guys here. So we got another great topic today, man. If you watch XXL, if you go on XXLmag.com, you see what's happening, or you follow him on the gram. It was a little controversy last week, man. It was crazy. So they posted a picture. The picture is Nas, Puff, and Future. But on the caption, it says Esco, Puff, and Future. Now, us heads, hip-hop heads, guys who do this, people that do this, we know Nas Escobar, Escobano, whatever you want to call him. We all know one of Nas's aliases is Esco. But then the comments happened. The kids got in the comment section, and it was crazy. Everybody was talking about who's Esco. That's not Esco. That's not the world's coolest DJ. Where's Esco? Is he standing behind Nas? All this crazy shit. Being smart and really not knowing that Nas's alias and one of his aliases is Esco. And that got us all to think. Obviously, comments went crazy and everybody chimed in, and then people was like, oh, well, Nas don't even make music, or when's the last time he called himself Esco, trying to clean it up. But how do you not know that? How do you not know Nas is Escobar? I mean, he said it in the Nostradamus song.
The kids don't know that.
Season.
It's Escobar season.
The kids don't know that, though.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that got us to thinking, do you feel like the kids and the young rappers, do you feel like it's their responsibility to know their history in hip-hop, to know the forefathers, the people that came before them? And that's what the topic is going to be today. So, Sus, it's funny because you was riding around today, you was Snapchatting, and you was playing classic joints while you was riding through the city. Mm-hmm. So, as a DJ, obviously, you came in, you heard music, you wanted to be a part of this culture, you wanted to get down, and you decided you wanted to be a DJ. Did you go and study your history and the guys that came before you?
Yeah, I don't really know exactly what it is with the kids nowadays. I don't know if it's the social media era.
Damn kids.
And they're just paying attention to exactly what's going on moment by moment. But when I came up, not only did I have to know, the music that was popping currently, I had to know things from the past. Like I was practicing with records that was before my time, like Frankie Beverly, Before I Let Go. You know what I'm saying? A lot of 80s hip hop. I didn't start listening to hip hop till the 90s. But I had to know all the 80s hip hop, and I had to know all the 80s and 70s R&B and stuff like that. And I used to practice with those records, like Mary Jane Girls, All Night Long, and records like that. So, and my mom and my pops used to put me onto these records. So I don't understand the parents nowadays, how they're not teaching their kids. Like, because if I had kids,
teach the babies,
I would teach them where hip hop came from and everything. And I don't understand, if you're a fan of hip hop, why you're not paying attention to the music beforehand. I just don't understand why you wouldn't be curious, or why you wouldn't even take a look.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
If you love it so much, why not go back a generation to see where that came from? Who inspired some of your favorite artists?
Exactly.
And things of that nature. What about you, Jack Thriller?
I really don't think the kids care at all, man, because music is so it's so easy to do, man. Anybody can make a hit. You a hit away from. Oh, you do music.
I actually do.
I apologize.
I actually do.
But your music is awesome too.
That one time I went to the studio.
No, you are a terrific MC, man.
Don't try to clean it up, you bastard.
You talked about my outfit. Hey, like I said, it's just so easy to make a hit these days, man. You like when Future, what's his name? Designer first came out, he only had 2 songs. We came up to GU and went 50 talk to him. He only had 2 songs and whatnot. And, he has the #1 song on Billboard. Hey, they don't have to know but I think they should, but they don't care to know. You know why? Because these days in time, it's so easy to just Google whatever. Like, we didn't have much stuff to Google because we didn't have Google when we were coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so if you wanted to entertain yourself or see what something was and whatnot, we just had we went back and watched Smokey Robinson and watched looked up Berry Gordy and Michael Jackson and stuff like that, because it wasn't that much to choose from.
Right.
It's a pocket for everything now, and and I think that's what I think variety. That's what what I'm saying, got the kids like, I don't give a fuck.
So they don't care about what's happening, what happened, what came before, what inspired the people that they listen to.
I think there's a bunch of different elements. Like, I think the kids just don't care and they're not interested. They're in what's the moment, and that's bad. I think the parents aren't teaching them. I think TV nowadays, like, they used to force things in our minds with the music shows and play the current and the past and teach us about everything. And we had shows like Yo MTV Raps.
Right, there aren't even any shows anymore.
Yeah, there aren't any even shows. I think Revolt's trying to do it a little bit, but there really aren't even
Who got
any shows.
Revolt, dog? It's on one cable provider. Stop it.
I plead the fifth. But listen, and also, I'll take responsibility. I personally, when I'm on the radio, I think
it's all your fault.
No, it's all my fault.
I
greatly apologize.
Let's wrap it up. So thank you guys.
Nah, but I think, radio needs to have the throwback shows more. Like, a lot of them have been kicked off of radio. They're just concerned of what research is nowadays, because of the business of radio. When hip hop became popular, and radio became more, hip hop radio became more popular. Now it's a business, and they're trying to control the DJ, and we got to play all these hits and what research as well and all this bullshit. That's why, honestly, I like Sirius XM a lot, because they don't put those handcuffs on you.
Shout out to the home team.
Yeah, but no disrespect to my other teams, but I'm just saying there's rules in radio right now. So I think there's a lot of different elements. You know what I'm saying?
True indeed.
But I researched the shit out of this when it happened on Saturday night or whatever it is, and we wanted to say, okay, so the youth doesn't care, right? And the youth doesn't care about Nas being Esco and all that. But so the first thing that happened is the younger people did respond and was like, who's that? That's not Esco, da 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 da. But the bigger thing was that the older folks jumped all over them. It only trended. I've read a million tweets at this point. It only trended because older people wanted to jump all over the kids and be like, you fucking 90s babies. You fucking kids you don't know, you don't respect. Nobody offered, well, this is what you should listen from the Esco period. Nobody tweeted, well, this is what you should know. Oh, this is how he became Esco. So it wasn't the kids. I found just a few tweets of the kids sitting there going, hey, I'm I was born in the 90s. I don't give a fuck. Like, there's a little bit of that. The only reason this was a big topic, because every old person that's sitting in this room went back at them to be like, I'm embarrassed you don't know your culture. I'm embarrassed you don't know this. I'm embarrassed you don't know that. And so that was interesting to me, because I wanted to go look at it and be like, okay, so these kids just don't respect anything. And they're Vince Staples and doesn't care about the 90s. And Lil Uzi doesn't want Primo beats and all the kind of stuff that we've heard. But the reality is there were 10 times more tweets of somebody like me going back being like, it's sad that you don't know, which I did myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big factor. It's like, okay, so these kids don't know it. All right. We're asking them to know somebody's nickname. They might be 17 years old. It is a little bit of a stretch. But I don't know if not knowing it is disrespectful. I think not wanting to know it is disrespectful.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not what we got from the kids. But what we got from the older folk was that we're not going to teach you. We're just going to beat you down and tell you how you fucked up. And I think that was the biggest takeaway of the Esco thing that kind of got slept on is, it's our problem.
Right.
Oh, we think it's all the young people's problem. It's our fucking problem, because how have we taught them since that happened a week ago?
Right.
What teachable moment has happened?
Do you think Future Puff or Nas should have said something about it, since they saw all the energy under the comments and all that they should have said something like...
We got reached out by Nas, because I don't think they understood at first that they thought that they didn't see the first post to begin with. They saw some of the replies that they did, what we were reposting, and they didn't understand at first where it was coming from. Sometimes I think when somebody gets so caught up in a moment that something's trending, it's hard to catch back up to that original tweet and see what happened. I think those guys just let it go. I mean, if you look at the tweet that we did, we called Puffy Puffy, not Diddy. So it wasn't the only one with the 90s nickname.
Yeah.
Puff go back and forth with so many names. Yeah. Nobody knows what to call them.
Puffy's from the 90s, definitely. So an old head's going to look at it and be Esco Puffy. When I looked at it, I didn't understand why people were getting pissed. It took me a while to figure out, it's because we called him Esco. They don't know that, But okay. Like, they're young kids at 17 years old.
The generation gap, I think, accounts for a lot of why the old heads are in this space and the young kids are there.
The old heads want to be mad,
right?
And the young heads want to prove you wrong.
So there's
you got
always
two
a
things
constant,
colliding
right,
in general.
constant
You're
colliding
fucking
and
wrong.
bumping
I know more
heads.
than you. You brand. I know more than you. I'm a bigger fan. But it was very little of the comeback of I don't want to know that shit. I don't care about Nas. It wasn't the fight back of like it was that. Oh right, nobody was saying school us, school us, school us. But there is no teachable moment that came out of it. There's nothing that wrote, ourselves included, of when did he become Esco? What's the first? We did all the recording.
I think that's the next thing that should pop up on the site is the origin of Esco.
Well, we have it already written.
Okay.
You know, I just
Yeah, let's get it popped.
But then again, you know, the origin of Esco, we've done as much digging as we can from what we remember from as Nas fans, from all the freestyles and the Mobb Deep appearance in, you know, Eye for an Eye in 95 and the Source freestyle with Kid Capri and the mentioning there and the AZ song, you know, and the problem is that without Nas telling us, we really don't know.
We need
so
Nas.
It still comes down to Nas at the end of
Nas,
the day being
somebody
like,
get Nas on the phone. We need
yeah.
Nas here. But all right, so let's take it away from just the fans of music because that's one thing. What about young rappers coming up? There's a lot of young rappers who don't care to know about their history, that don't care to know about artists before them. You guys remember Fiasco Gate when he was supposed to do a Tribe Called Quest, and you know, you look at somebody like Lupe, you think he would know a Tribe Called Quest off the rip, and he's like, yo, I never listened to them, and blah blah blah. So, do you think that there's a responsibility for younger rappers to know about the artists that came before them?
There's got to be something for the fact that we can have jazz tributes that tribute Duke Ellington and Sarah Vaughan and Louis Armstrong every year. And it will sell out at Lincoln Center and it'll be huge. And we can do concerts over and over with country western people and Kiss and Elton John and Billy Joel just did 147 nights or something at the Garden, or whatever it is. Crazy. And we have nobody in hip hop that can do that.
And U2 can come out anytime they want.
U2 can come out. There is something interesting that as a genre of music, we do not have the big artists revered like other genres of music. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're not as old. Maybe it's because we're only 40 years old, whatever it is. But there is something in the fact that the older artist who's got the Nas, the 11 solo albums, has done everything that he's done, is not revered the way a lot of the other artists are in other genres.
Right.
I think that's interesting. And I think that's the hip-hop kid mentality of not, is it the rap or whatever, of not looking back at the other artists and appreciating, and then maybe sometimes the older artists trying to do whatever they can to stay on with the younger dude. It is reversed than any other genre. I don't know how you change that, because part of what makes hip hop the way it is that it's fresh and young and cool and all that.
It's a young person's sport.
It's a young person's sport, and we're saying you all have to know everything.
But now it's evolving. Now, like you said, hip hop is in its 40th year. Now we have OGs. Now we have a generation or two we can go back on. And I think that it might be time for us to start to revere some of the people that came before us. You know, the fact that...
But it's just going to be Jay and Kanye, because that's all we do. We only revere Jay-Z. We revere Jay-Z. We can put him on the totem pole and put him as high as possible.
But I've seen conversations between kids who argue who's better, Jay-Z or Drake. You know, because he's their Jay-Z. This generation's Jay-Z, you know, for these kids coming up. He's the biggest thing. He sells the most. He's the coolest. He's the ittest.
Yeah, but if you're a fan of Drake, he's said in plenty of interviews and he's paid homage in plenty of records to Jay-Z. So if you're a fan of Drake,
and
I'm
to
just saying, yeah, and to Nas. So I'm just saying how I would think. If I'm a fan of Drake and he's saying this, I'd automatically be like, oh, this is my favorite artist. Let me see what the fuck he's talking about and listen to Jay-Z. Wouldn't you do that?
Right, you would think that, but I feel like
if you're such a fan of Drake and he's saying this is like who I listen to coming up, wouldn't that make you want to go listen? I don't know. That's how I feel.
I think that's some logic that you're pushing there that sometimes doesn't always exist in hip hop. The logical side of it. You know, I think it's maybe they go put it on and it sounds dated. You know, maybe what they picked wasn't the right thing to look to because nobody told them what to listen to per se. I don't know. I mean, I'm not defending it. I could understand a kid.
Man, if you listen to Reasonable Doubt and you don't love it, I don't know who you are.
I think the beats are dated, obviously, because things is more trap now and shit like that. But
that's what I'm saying. That might be hard for them to get over sometimes. Is that the beats sounding dated, which is fucked up. But it might be. I mean, we put on some shit yesterday, which I'm not gonna call out because it's gonna sound stupid. But I was like, this shit sounds dope. This old Wu-Tang shit or whatever. I was like, boy, this beat is fucking dated. You know,
no,
it's dated, there's nothing you could do about that. Right. It just exists. What are they hearing?
The guys that they say is number one now is like Drake, you know, J. Cole, Kendrick. And, you know, they still say Kanye and Hov. I know Hov's older, but these guys are lyrical. So I know the beats are dated, but the content is, to me, is not dated, and the lyrics aren't dated.
But I feel like in this day and time, I mean, who's holding lyrics to a high regard besides a pocket full of people? You know,
Well, when you ask
look
kids who's their top 5 right now,
well, you
they
just
gonna say
said
Drake?
the number one record in the country is Designer, right? Half of this shit is not even audible. Like, we don't even know what he's saying besides having broads in
Number
Atlanta.
one record in the country right now doesn't mean
Panda.
That's what I'm saying.
On the top 5, dead or alive.
But no, but it's the most popular, right? So
Yeah.
the records that are popular now and the artists that are popular now, what people are listening to now, I don't feel like there's such an emphasis on lyrics. So maybe they can't get past the beat and get into the lyrics because they don't care. They want the beat.
That's what I'm wondering.
You
if
can't
it's,
dab. Like, you can't dab the 21.
So are you telling me the kids 10 years from now
to
when
one
we
in
say
a million questions?
who's better, that one of their top MCs might be fucking Designer?
Yeah,
Yo, it
because
might
right
be.
now it's Amigos. If you listen to the kids now, is the YNs, what's that young dude, Young Yachty, Lil Yachty, and
Jesus
they
Christ.
I mean, oh my God,
Top
Well, that
records?
was the whole argument yesterday on Twitter was how Lil Yachty is the new Tupac. Now, I'm not going to diss
Whoa.
Lil Yachty, but that shocked the shit out
I gotta
of me.
go.
And
Wow.
that was a huge argument
Whoa.
on Twitter yesterday, and I was like, wow. It was just, that the kids don't understand what a reach that is. But then when I say the kids, I found stupid myself. I'm like,
Right.
what am I talking about? The fucking kids.
But
okay?
hip hop comes with such an
The kids,
attitude, man, and new. And if you look in the past, people it's so competitive that it can't be like a country music or a jazz or anything like that. Because like jazz musicians or country musicians, they didn't hate on each other, or
They
compete with
had
each other.
beef.
We didn't know about it.
Well, there was no
They weren't
Instagram.
It wasn't
There
like
wasn't no
this.
Twitter.
Snapchat.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it's not like hip hop. Hip hop got an attitude problem, and motherfuckers inside hip hop said, "Hey, when you over 40, you ain't supposed to be rapping no more." And then they turned 42.
Right.
And then now they like, hey, man, I don't understand why they ain't fucking with me no more. Because you started that shit 20 years ago when you was 20.
Yeah, some guys might have kind of boxed themselves in, right?
Yeah.
Because when you young, and I hear a lot of artists say it now, or people talk, I'm young, I'm this, I'm all right, but what are you gonna do? Do you plan on dying young, or do at some point
Oh, I
you
always
want
say,
to?
how are you going to get older?
You want to grow up, right? So if you keep shunning the older people and making hip hop so young, you basically pushing yourself out because as time goes on, you're gonna age.
Can Jay-Z still sell?
I think that Jay-Z is bigger than just a rap artist. His brand is so big that I feel like whatever he does and put something to the marketplace is going to generate a certain amount of attention because he's Jay-Z.
What about Fat Joe right now? Has one of the top records in the country with All the Way Up with Remy.
That's a
How do you
good
explain
point.
that?
That's a very, very good point. I mean, it's a great record. And Joe is a smart guy. He knows how to make hit
The kids
records.
love that record, though.
Exactly.
Man.
But do
They
know,
never said
do they
this
know
guy's too
Flo
old.
Joe? Do they know Flo Joe? Do
No,
they know
don't know it,
DITC?
but what I'm saying is, no, they don't. But what I'm saying is a guy who's over 40 could come here and make some noise.
I think because he was able to stay relevant, stay current, reinvent who he was from Relativity Records days and digging in the crates to who people know Fat Joe is now. Another thing is he stays on the post of working with the artists that are popping. You see
There
him.
you go.
You see him working with Lil Wayne when everybody from the purest hip hop were like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "I'm fucking getting me a hot record," is what I'm doing.
What about Eminem?
Again, I mean, you can't pull like the Mount Rushmore guys because I feel like they've impacted the culture more so than just because they made music. Eminem is Eminem. You know what I'm saying? Like he can put a record out.
You can't come into the game at 40 is what you're saying.
I don't think you can start at 40. You know what I'm saying? But then you look at, like a Jay Electronica, who's older, right? And people dig him. He don't put out a lot of music, but people dig him. But I think some of the top artists are older artists. They don't necessarily act their age, if you will. You look at a guy like Rick Ross. He's very relevant, right? Rick Ross ain't fucking 26 years old. 2 Chainz ain't 26 years old.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers is grown. You know what I'm saying? But they carry themselves in a way that they relate to the youth. I want to ask about the gatekeepers of hip hop. The OGs whose responsibility I think it is, or is it their responsibility would probably be a better question, to educate the youth and to uphold the things that they came in on. Like, you look at a guy like Funk Flex, who OG carrying crate, he know from the Bronx, he know, you know what I'm saying? But he'll get on there and he'll drop that Lil Yachty record, you know what I'm saying? Because they know that's what's popping right now. But why not follow that up with some shit that is hip hop shit so that doesn't get lost?
Because he want to keep his job.
No, but the times I have listened,
Message.
From it's where I'm on the competitive station, so I try to stay focused on what our station's doing. But the times I've listened to see what the competition's doing, Flex definitely, he always pays homage to Red Alert. He always
chill out.
Fucking the 4th of July.
Okay, but there's times during the year that they show a lot. They play a lot of classics, and then they say stories of what this record was like when it dropped.
That's very
and
true.
what you should know this. Like I've heard it plenty of times. So I think he does his responsibility. I know I do my responsibility, but like we said, some of us push the envelope. The radio has a lot of rules right now. Like I'm not going to say any stations, but there's some stations I've guest DJ'd on, and they're like, these are the records that you're going to be playing. And
Crazy.
You're like
And
you're
you
going,
wonder
you're going
who
to be playing.
determined
We have
those
rules.
records. You wonder who determined that those were the records
What's
that
the,
were going to get
what
played.
is it? Arbitron? What's the fucking rating system that they use or they check or
what the hell is the name of it right
the
now?
Nielsen shit or whatever? Like what are these? What? I look at Twitter. I look at Instagram. That's current. That's popping. That's the post. People like, yo, I'm tired of hearing the same 10 records. That's all I see. People
It is
tired
the
of
same,
hearing
yeah.
the same
Radio's
shit.
based off of research now.
That
They
research is
research records.
bullshit. Look at what the
But
people are
who's doing
saying
the
right
research?
now.
That's what I want to know.
Who are they asking?
Listen, I'm not the boss. I just follow what the boss
You
is
are
saying.
the representative
But-
of radio
I'm the
right now.
representative. What I do know is they take, they pick dozens of people or hundreds of people, and they research with those people. Now, who these people are, I'm not
I
sure.
never get
Damn.
these
You
phone
gotta get my
calls.
voice
I
in
never
here.
get these phone
Exactly.
calls. Nobody ever asks me who I'm voting for polling wise.
Never.
I never get the phone call.
And the new
Cablevision, shit, nothing.
the
Man,
new
it's
form-
bigger than
Not on
us,
any
man.
of
The
these
new
Vanessa
form of
wants to
ratings
be-
right now is
Somebody
people
survey
meter.
me.
By the way.
Vanessa wants to be surveyed. God damn it.
I hear about these surveys, but nobody includes me in them.
You ever think for a second though we might just be in our own bubble, and that's why we don't know who these people are or how do they choose this music and whatnot?
Well, we're
'Cause it's
definitely in a bubble.
Yeah, we listen to the shit we listen to, but it's a whole nother world out there. Like, hey, this is the shit we want to hear on their station. This is the shit that I want to hear Bryson Tiller every other radio commercial.
Yeah, play Bryson Tiller right after the Tory Lanez that came after,
Yeah, after the
Bryson
Tory
Tiller.
Lanez, exactly.
Yeah, play
But
that.
what about you just missed the weekend?
Definitely got to play the weekend. Definitely got to get the
It's
weekend.
all the same shit. They sound like each other. Hey, we got to, you know what I'm saying, tell our artists to start making songs like them. I mean, if Jay-Z started singing on his shit like Bryson, yeah, I think he probably can do
would
a
not
million
be-
records.
That would not be a good idea. So do we feel like
You gonna really turn your back on Jay-Z if he started sounding like Bryson Tiller?
absolutely? I want Jay-Z to sound like Jay-Z.
Do you think he need us?
No, Jay-Z don't need to put a record out. Let's be clear.
Fat Joe didn't need us, and he got all the way up. We ain't the majority of the people that fucking went all
that
the way up.
feels like-
And a lot of people don't know what Fat Joe looked like. This the young people inside the game. They don't know the lean back. They don't even know the lean backs.
You know
That
what?
bothers me because lean back's not that long
No,
ago.
no. Listen, let me say this. I was at Farmingdale this week on Monday. Shout out to Farmingdale
I
State
used to
College.
dorm there, but shout out to Farmingdale.
No, did you went to Five Towns?
Went to Five Towns.
Yeah,
Used to
you had
dorm
to
there
dorm
before
there.
Five Towns had dorms.
Exactly.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So I was there,
Y'all went
and
to
I
college.
was doing their Ramfest. I went to Kingsborough Community, baby. But I was doing their Ramfest. Fat Joe was one of the performers, ironically. And in the back of my mind, I was like, damn, are these kids going to react to Fat Joe the way I feel like he should be reacted to?
I saw that footage, and they did.
And
I booked that gig also.
PNB Rock, PNB, you did. You actually did. You
Shout
was
to
the-
Reg West.
Yeah, you was the plug. PNB
Yeah.
Rock performed first, right? And they loved it, and they knew all the records. And I was like, damn. In my mind, I was like, damn, I think Joe might not, you know what I mean? Like, it might not go down for Joe. And I was so pleasantly surprised that they knew all the records. They
Well,
knew
what did he
the
perform? Of course,
Yeah,
they
he
what
would.
did,
did
he
he
did all his big records. He did all his big singles. But I was surprised that they knew the What's Loves with the Shanties, and they knew the joint with what's the singing dude who's not around no more, the Jay Holiday and No Shots.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That wasn't
they
that long
knew,
ago, though.
Wow.
But they knew these
I
records.
thought he was dead the
Yeah.
way you said.
Yeah, he's young.
Ain't
Jack's
he though?
crazy.
No, he's not. And then of course he got into the All the Way Ups and the Make It Rains and the bigger records. But I was definitely pleasantly surprised that an audience of college students knew some of the records that were 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, because this shit is so fast now. It's so disposable. People be in and out so quick that they be over it. So it felt good just because we mentioned Joe. It felt good to see that. But again, going back to the rappers and some of these artists who don't know about the artists who came before them, whose responsibility is it to school them? Is it us as
It's everybody's, I think. This is the hip hop culture. It's the DJs. It's the radio
But if
stations.
you school them, I get schooling. You can't get force somebody to receive information and be interested in it. You know what I mean? That's an interesting fact. Like, we could school, we could talk about that all we want. If they don't care, they don't care. Not to say that they all don't. But I just don't know how you get people who aren't so interested in something to then genuinely be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to change the way I'm thinking at 17, 18, 19, 20, 22 years old. And
Can't tell them shit.
like, I'm not really sure. Like, we could offer all of that, but I don't know how you make them like it. I don't know how you make them so-and-so. I don't know how you make Vince Staples want to receive the 90s music if he really feels all that way, you know, because he's sitting there and he's angry that you're putting it on him. He's saying, I don't want to like all your stuff. I don't want, you're mad at me because I'm not infatuated with what you're infatuated with. So how do we, to me, the conversation's stuck sometimes.
They don't even know the early 2000s music. Like, it's not that long ago.
Dog, my daughter didn't know a Mace record. I wanted to kick her out the car. Feel So Good came on.
How old is she?
She's 14.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like 4.
No. She's 14. Feel So Good came on. In my mind, I can't fathom.
That was 90s, though.
Mace was the biggest shit on earth, though. So to me, you dead right. She wasn't even born.
She wasn't even born.
But it's so hard for me to compute that because the shit was so big. I'm like, she like, she's my daughter. So, of course, I put her onto a gang of music. I'm like, she didn't know a Nelly record.
Yeah,
She's like, is that Nelly? She knows Nelly because he's still popular. He's still a personality.
And the reality shit.
But the records, you know what I'm saying? Like, not knowing the records, these things didn't translate over. And as her parent, it's my job to make sure she's aware. Like, you can listen to your shit.
But it's also your job to make sure that she knows how to pay bills, knows how to take care of herself.
We do all that.
Grades are
We do
good.
all that.
So I wonder, in the whole general thing, is where does the knowing who Esco is fit in the responsibilities of schooling you sometimes?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it should come from the parents or the older siblings or the older cousins or whatever, but I just wonder, when does it come up in conversation per se? And by the way, Esco was Nas, or it's Nas, you know?
I think it's a little bit everybody's problem because I bet you your daughter knows Poison.
BBD?
And that was before everything you just mentioned.
This is true.
Why does she know that? Because it's getting played.
Right. It's such a marginal record. You know what I'm saying? She called those the Black Barbecue records. The Before I Let Go's, Frankie Beverly Mays, and the Poison. She's like, oh, that's the Black Barbecue music.
But she knows it because it's getting played.
You go to a Black Barbecue, you go hear these records because they get played. Another thing I wanted to touch on in that topic though is there's no other profession, because hip hop is a business, right? It's the music business. There's no other profession. You can't just go in and be a doctor and be like, all right, I'm gonna just start doing the shit my way. You got to go back and learn. You know what I'm saying? If you a lawyer, you go back and you study past cases and Roe versus Wade or whatever these things are. These things because that's the profession.
But it's a big, to me, it's like a bigger issue. It's not even going back. Like, to flip on what I'm saying is that you've got Nas. They're not knowing Nas Esco for lyrical references. Nas and Jay had one of the biggest beefs in hip hop history. They got on stage. They squashed the beef in front of all of us. They said, let's go Esco. Jay brings Nas on stage. It was absolutely amazing.
It was electric.
We have to even accept the fact that they're not even YouTubing those moments. You know what I mean? Like, they're not even looking at it and saying, hey, we're hip hop fans. Oh, well, I need to know Nas's whole catalog and who they're name dropping. No, there are big moments in hip hop history where he was referred to as Esco.
Absolutely.
And so that means the bigger picture is they're not just missing out, and I don't even know where I'm going with all this, but they're not just missing out on Nas's catalog or great catalog. They're missing out on moments that built the culture to what it is today.
Absolutely.
That if you saw that moment, if you ever took the time to look up that moment, you know how Jay introduced Nas to the stage. So it's interesting in that is like, what are they not paying attention? I mean, maybe it's so big what they're not paying attention, and they've dismissed that whole time period. But you do go to the Black Barbecue music, and I'm not really sure because those songs don't go anywhere.
Those records don't go anywhere. Yeah, and but that's a great point, V. These are moments. Like, these moments make what the culture is.
I went from Nasty. We went from what's it called?
I went from Nasty Nas to
Esco's
Trash.
And the takeover and all of that is so huge.
Exactly.
So we're saying that you didn't just do not do your homework on Nas. You didn't do your homework on the takeover. You didn't do your homework on when they squashed the beef, all of that. There's a lot of elements that they missed along the way.
And that's just one instance.
Yeah.
There's so much because these are the things that built the culture. These are the things that made hip hop what it is today. The reason why these kids can have a platform to put out records, and you know what I'm saying? Like, these are all of the things that paved the way for you. So how do you not have interest in it?
Is it acceptable in any other genre of music to be a fan and not know like who some of the past artists are?
That's a good question.
Like, I don't think so.
I think we're all the wrong people to ask right now.
Hey, you know what? We are definitely the
Because I've
wrong
been asking
people to
that
ask.
over and over. I'm like, who do I ask this to?
Right, who do you call?
You know, like, who's the person who has any idea?
I heard Tory Lanez say that he didn't even know who Brownstone was when he chose this song.
Tory Lanez is a little bit of a bitter dude. Let's not the best example.
I didn't know that.
Also, Brownstone
But
only
that's
had one hit.
crazy though.
Oh, you got a point. Yeah.
But that's but it's also his
But
thing.
he chose
I
it.
had
He
a-
chose that song.
I had some interns around me that's in their younger 20s, late teens, didn't know a lot of big Mary J. Blige records, and that bothered me.
That gotta
You know what I'm
bother
saying?
you. How you not know Mary?
How do you
But
not know?
on Devil's Advocate, and life goes on.
And
Absolutely.
life
You know what I
goes
mean?
on.
Like, you know, it's like it bothers us. It bothers you. It bothered certain things bother me. And then it's like, so the fuck what? Then they go on and they listen to what they don't listen. Like, what? We're getting bothered, right? So what the fuck does it matter? And the bigger picture of thing, that's where I'm getting caught up is like, I'm bothered you don't know this, and that. So the fuck what that I'm bothered that you don't know that. I'm not going to stop them from making music, doing their thing, or listening to what they listen to. So I'm caught up in the caring side of it. You know what I mean? I'm bothered. But then that's that purist side.
I think
I
that's
don't know what it matters that
that's
I'm bothered.
another- that's
I'm not
another-
dissing you and
Yeah,
you're
no, I
not, you
understand.
know, I'm talking about myself per se. What does it matter if you think the kids should know that? They're going to do whatever the fuck
But
they want, and the
that's
world
true.
keeps turning. You
And
know?
because we did.
What does it
Right.
turn? What does
That's
it
where
go
I'm
to
stuck.
though? Where does it go?
We're the first generation of hip hop and whatnot. We're the first generation hip hop kids. That's why we feel so strongly about it too. And it just keeps on moving on. What is it? It's like 40 years now, right?
Right.
Yeah. In about 6 years, I'm gonna be 40. Yeah, that's why I care so much.
You are hip hop, Jack Thriller.
Hey, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So
Where does it go though? Then because if
it
every
keeps on getting.
if every year we get more and more removed from the origins,
Like, you're
and
telling me 10 years from now, they're just not going to care about Run DMC?
this is what I'm. This is what
crazy.
This exactly.
Yo,
this shit got to stop. Something got to happen.
When the last time you went to a Run DMC concert? There's not any kids there. It's us and older people.
That's
I
fine,
don't
too. When
see
you
a lot
go
of
to a Billy
Run
Joel
DMC
concert, it's the same
Run
thing.
DMC concerts happening in general, though.
Yeah, it's crazy because we can't erase the history, man. You can't get so
You
far.
can YouTube it though.
But do they want to? You know, that's the thing. And I feel like it's like Sus said, man, it takes a village. I think it's everybody's responsibility to chime in and try to do a little bit so that this culture, this is our thing, B. We can't let this shit erode and fade away and go away and be a shell of it what it once was. I'm not saying everybody go get a DJ Premier beat and be on your boom bap 90s purist shit.
That's Primo.
But
For those
understand
people.
Primo, or Preem, you know what I
Preem.
mean? For those who don't know, his alias is
It's a Manny joke.
is it Mean Joe Preem. I think that if we don't start to put some responsibility on it though,
Some respect on
it's
it.
gonna please put some respect on our
Yo,
names.
dog.
But I don't understand. So you're going to take young people and say, hey, you've got to pass this hip hop test before you can go on and be a fan? Like, I just don't know what do you mean? What do you really do by that?
I think the artists,
you know,
the
it's-
current artists should take initiative a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Bring the artists out more or say, yo, I remember when I speak about it more. I
You gotta
remember when I
connect
used
the
to listen.
dots. You gotta connect the dots. I mean, I think it's cool when, you know, a younger artist to bring out an OG artist or whatever. Like, you know, Kendrick having MC Eighth on Good Kid, Mad City, or most recently ASAP Ferg having Chuck D on his album. Like, that's where it starts. That's the way you start to bridge the gap. Because there's a bunch of kids who listen to Ferg who don't know Chuck D or Public Enemy.
But, you know, take it a step further. What if they collaborated on a tape? You know, sometimes that guest appearance seems like you're doing the bid for the moment. Yeah, you got your old school moment, or you did your this. I mean, you haven't really seen taking the old guy and the young guy and collaborating and bringing the generations together.
Some of these guys don't need to rap.
You
Let's
know,
be clear. Some of these guys don't need to be
It's
rapping.
kind of interesting, you know, if you look at, I mean.
Man, it's a
think
pocket for all
about
that
it.
bullshit.
Or how about make a movie? When Straight Outta Compton came out, you know how many kids started Googling NWA?
Yo, I
It was
couldn't
really that
big?
Dog, I couldn't find a Raiders hat nowhere, B. I'm like, oh, word? Y'all really just like,
But
they
I wonder
so
how
hyped.
much really listened to the NWA music or bought the Raiders hat. You know, it's a hell of a
No,
lot
they bought the
easier
hat.
to buy the hat than it is to go and listen and sit down and go through a catalog of music.
I wonder who, because they
and,
did
or, you know,
rechart, you know, they did pop back up on
and are those the old
Billboard.
people, the young people
Right,
buying
we
it?
don't know
you know
who
we
that-
don't, you don't really know what that means and where that fits in.
I would like to feel that it was the young people because I know that they're more of a digital-minded community.
I'd like to feel that Trump is not going to win, and I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Sweet
So our
Jesus.
feelings are definitely valid.
You got a point.
But I'm not really sure if they're going to dictate it all, you know?
Yeah.
We need these surveys again. We need to get out
Hey,
there.
if Arnold Schwarzenegger could do it, he could do it too.
Shit. And Ronald Reagan, right? He was an actor.
He was an actor.
Went president.
Dog.
You know, but I always wonder, like, even slang changes from
That's always
95
gonna
to
change,
2005, you know? It's for to 2015. So we're talking 21, 22, whatever years later. I wonder how much of the kids put the stuff on and sometimes don't even know what they're talking about to some degree at times, you know? Not a familiar,
Yeah.
like the slang is even different now.
Yeah, I said-
and you'll have conversations about lyrics and they don't totally know what the lyric was.
Yeah, I think I said around a 19-year-old kid, I said, yo, that Future song is dope. Because I come from the era of the word.
Oh, I got harassed
Exactly.
for
They said
saying
dope.
Yo,
You're
yeah.
so old school.
I get harassed every time,
Cold
yeah.
chilling.
Yeah.
That shit was slamming, B.
But these kids also are
Stupid.
doing a lot of classic culture. Like, I see kids running around with flat tops and
right,
all
like
types
the
of shit.
movie Dope, right? So
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
an infatuation.
It's a little weird.
If
with-
you know the
But the
with
old
question is,
fashion.
who set that tone that they're listening to? You know, like does somebody set the tone to go do the haircut, to go do the this, to go do that? They decided that it was cool to some degree at some point. How? That's what it is. They're attracted to something. What are they attracted to that makes them do this haircut, wear this, da da da, whatever it is? It's like that. Whoever's setting that tone is the one that's going to tell them to listen to old hip hop. You know.
We need to find that person.
But if you look, Joey Badass is an artist who has a strong following and fan base. He tours a lot, and he is rooted in a certain sound in 90s hip hop, and he works with guys like Premier, and and he has a huge following of kids. They
but
got that
that's-
whole pro era thing going.
One part you made me think of it with Joey. I went to a Joey show a couple of years ago, and he did a Biggie cover, and I was like, "This is fascinating," because we're in a culture where people don't normally cover songs, and I'm on a big bandwagon right now that we're going to go that direction. And so we have a culture where you don't really cover somebody's song. Why are you acting like you're doing it better? Is it fucked up if you go in? And now you're seeing. We just had Chance the Rapper cover Kanye, cover Will Smith. We had Biggie, J. Cole cover Biggie. We're starting to see rappers actually cover rap songs, which is something that they've done in country, they've done in every other genre of music for how long? We haven't done that. So now hip hop as a whole is saying, okay, so we're going to start covering older rapper songs. So maybe that's another entry point.
Can you do that? Like in hip hop? Like, remember Whitney Houston did I Will Always Love You and made it huge, but it was originally a Dolly Parton record?
But so what about the Fugees and Kill 'Em
Kill 'Em
Softly?
Softly,
That's
right.
a cover
Roberta
if you
Flack.
really look at it.
Yeah, it
that
is.
way it's just not a hard rap. But when Cole
But Killing Me Softly was more R&B. Can you do that with just... Can somebody come here and do like, I'm just going to re-release One More Chance by Biggie?
I don't know,
Like,
I don't know if you
put
release
it out,
I don't know
right.
if you
You don't know if
release
you
it,
put it
but
out
if you have a live
commercially.
performance and you do a great live performance of your own rendition of Biggie's whatever it is, that will get could get, if it's done right, enough YouTube and views and credit that way that people look at it. I think there's something to maybe that. I mean, we haven't really seen a lot of it. We've seen a few guys pop up lately covering songs, mostly from Chance, a little bit from Cole. We've got, Joey's done it. I mean, I think I could be wrong, but didn't Ross do Denzel Curry or something? Cover a Denzel Curry song or something?
Did
I
he?
could be making this one up
Okay.
completely. I could be remembering
Who
that
was
wrong.
Denzel
Well,
Curry?
Ross has done some Biggie stuff, in verses and
I'm talking, you take the whole song and you perform it from top to bottom. We're starting to see a little bit more like that, and you wonder if that's a shift in how people are thinking, because that's what every other genre of
something
music
has
does.
to be done. Hip hop has to be. It can't just be this anomaly. It has to be treated like a musical genre, and it has to be allowed to grow up, and it has to be allowed to be a place where not only young people run and dictate what's happening, but there's guys who laid this groundwork. There are guys who came before. There are guys who made it possible for you to be where you are. And it's just like in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wasn't getting that bread like LeBron getting, but they got the greatest players, and they come out and they honor them and they talk about them and they watch footage. And
I got the solution.
What's the solution, Sus?
Drake is the Jay-Z of this time, and Jay-Z is the Jay-Z of our time. Them two motherfuckers need to come together and make the people fucking listen.
They can't
They
even,
need to do something
they
together.
can't get along for more than 10 minutes.
That's true.
There's a I don't know.
They
like,
need to do it for hip-hop.
There's an alpha ego thing going on there. You know what's funny? And this is a little off the topic and not hip hop, but I went to see Toni Braxton last week, and she did One More Chance. She performed the whole shit. It was so nuts to see her rapping and swagging.
That's
and
gonna
all
be a different thing. When
No, that's
we
a
see
totally
more
different
people
thing.
start to cover rap, whether it be rappers or R&B or all that. We don't have that history like that. You have like Ed Sheeran doing weird rap covers sometimes, right?
People get
But you
so
don't
infatuated
have that.
with those things too.
But it's a whole open lane for hip hop to go in. I mean, and talk about covering the history. I mean, you could do. I'm gonna give all my ideas away.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Or you know what's another thing is like people get so excited when they see artists who aren't hip hop embrace hip hop. Like you see a Taylor Swift rapping Kendrick Lamar lyrics and it goes crazy, or you see Adele doing Nicki Minaj and you know the shit gets 40 million views. You know what I'm saying? Because there is an interest in hip hop. We need to have that same respect within the community, and I definitely feel like the artists coming up should understand where it came from and care and want to know.
It also
and
doesn't
don't
help.
say anything as crazy as Lil Yachty is the new Tupac. Don't say that, because when I see you, I'm gonna want to fight you.
And if you say that, you better have a super amount of
But
knowledge
you're not
of
going to
Tupac.
see them because it's hidden online. You know.
Oh my God, I'm very curious to see what happens when the Tupac biopic comes out. All Eyes on Me. I think it's gonna be another huge movie. But I want to know. I will want to know how much of it. You know, how much of the takeaway, like you said with the NWA film, how much are people going to go back and research and get into the music, and some of these young kids who don't understand the impact of who Tupac was, you know, outside
You know
of
what's
just
crazy? Tupac still gets played in rotation a lot. Not heavy, but
that's
like
because
a lot
he keep
of
putting out
classics.
records.
And it also doesn't help when like the current artists beef with the old artists, like for instance Nicki Minaj and Kim.
Right.
Like those two should be coming together. So that, because I remember like Kim came out on the Bad Boy 20th anniversary BET concert, and Puff performed for the 20th anniversary, and Kim came out and everybody went crazy there. Mm-hmm. And I remember some girl that was a little bit younger asked me, "Was Kim really that big?"
That's crazy.
That's
I think
crazy.
You know what's so nuts about and
But why is it crazy if she wasn't alive then? She didn't experience it. She didn't, you know, it's not on the radios now. I mean, she could go and look up some videos and see her perform. But I could understand somebody not being there.
get it.
Not
I could tell
really
you right now that
understanding.
Elvis
I
was
can go
big.
to my mom and
Because
ask
we
people,
lived
was this
through
person
it.
big then? How big were they?
Hey, hold on.
I wasn't alive, but I could tell you Frank Sinatra was big. I could tell
But
you
I don't
me
Elvis
know
was
if
big.
Frank Sinatra
Exactly.
and Elvis are Little Kim. I mean, you know, like let's be realistic. You know, Kim was big, definitely, but the Elvis history and the Frank Sinatra history are at a different
I know
caliber.
some people that know Biggie's name, but they don't know how big the records were, and like they don't know a lot of the records. And how is this even possible?
It's because we lived through it and it was so big for us that you just feel like everybody should understand and know. But obviously for young people who weren't alive and around then, for them it's not the same.
And I think they should be able to ask you that question, and I mean, you know, and then have a conversation about it. You know, I think we're all shocked you don't know that, you know, kind of thing. You don't fucking know that, but I think they should be able to ask us, and then we have a conversation and we school them about it rather than judge them that they don't know it. That comes back to the thing on Esco. The whole thing that looked to me was that we all wanted to smash the kids for not knowing, but we didn't want to explain what they had to know. These are the essential songs from his Esco time period that you should listen to. You have to listen to this album because of this reason. This is blah, blah, blah. He was Esco for this reason, and the poet and the mafioso theme and the switch. Nobody said that
But
anywhere.
it was also the way that they said it, like, Double XL, y'all need to change that, or I can't believe y'all made that mistake. There was a little bit of
because
that.
this generation thinks they know everything.
Fucking
I mean,
know-it-alls.
of course it's going to be that way.
But nobody taught us nothing, though. We did all that ourselves, though, Vanessa.
We didn't have the internet. We didn't have everything that they have today in our face, and the technology and the
What should make it easier?
overconfidence
Right,
and all.
you feel like the more I say this shit all the time. It's like the more connected we get, the more disconnected we are. You got a million ways to communicate with somebody and understand what they're doing, and you probably don't even fucking know really their real
But
name.
I could ask you if Little Kim is big and go look her up on YouTube. But if I can go to somebody who was around at that time period and say, was she really that big? And that was somebody that was firsthand, I'm going to get more information
Absolutely.
from that person than I am from a video.
Absolutely.
So I do think there's a lot of responsibility on us in that capacity.
And again, to
you know,
my
and
point,
to
we
offer,
gotta come
we can't be
together.
so offended that you don't know. We have to offer what you should know.
I'ma
This
be
might
shocked.
take away a lot from that Twitter.
I'm gonna be shocked, but then I want to try to remedy the situation by giving you the information. I think it's up to them to want to receive it, you know. And
That's definitely a part of it, but it also could be how we're responding to them, that they want to receive it. You know, I don't know. You know, but if we're making them feel stupid that they don't know it, do I want to learn it? I'm not sure. I'm just trying to figure that part out. I don't know if talking down to them is going to do it.
that never works.
And I think that that's the mentality of what happens. We're so exasperated that you don't know this and that, and you should, that we're hung up on that before we get to the next part. I don't know if that works, and I don't know if what I'm saying makes any difference at all, you know?
I mean,
but it's something to, yeah, we're shocked. We're shocked you don't fucking know. Well, then I don't know if somebody's going to come at me if I'm going to want to then talk to you more about it, you know? I'm going to shut up and move on.
There's something we got to figure something out. We got to do something because like I said, I think that the foundation and the groundwork and the origins of this great culture that provides for each and every one of us in this room is going to be lost. You know, and we can't let that happen. You know what I'm saying? There's a rock and roll hall of fame. You know what I'm saying? There's a country music hall of fame. These other genres of music are revered, and they're older people put on pedestals, and you got this one's guitar and this one's hat and this one, you know, and of course, you know, we love to see things like NWA and Run DMC getting the rock and roll hall of fame. But us as a culture, we have to honor this culture the way that other cultures honor their shit, and we can't just throw the old people away, man. We can't have KRS-One beefing with, you know, the new guys, or we can't have Chuck D beefing with the new guys. Like, it got to be, you know, we got to figure out some type of common ground.
Remember when KRS-One was beefing with Nelly and was like old versus new?
Yo,
and now
these
motherfuckers don't even know the Nelly record.
Right.
Wow.
Now Nelly is KRS-One not being known.
Crazy.
Yo, that's
Nelly
Not even that
Turning
long
old
ago,
school.
in my opinion.
absolutely not.
But it was
we
like
old.
10 years ago.
We
You know,
is
I mean,
old.
8
That's
years
not-
it was a long time ago.
I don't know. That's not.
Sometimes when you work in this industry, to me, I always make the joke, it's all one big year.
Yep.
We forget how much time has really gone by.
Exactly.
Yo, it's been
You know, I think
21
that's-
years
you
since
got it.
1995.
That's a big deal.
That's a long time. That's a
Yeah.
whole lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For us, that shit was like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like, you remember what was popping. You remember what you was wearing. And that was it, man.
Mm-hmm.
What up?
Hey, you know, I was want to ask something. It's funny that you had said something about the Lil Kim thing.
Yeah.
Because the same thing happened to me when I was watching the Tupac documentary. With the one where they were saying that somebody had him set up and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's walking through the casino, and like all these people are looking at him and staring at him and stuff. And the girl that was with me watching it, she was like, "Yo, why are they following him like that?" I was like, "Yo, he's equivalent to being Drake going to go kick somebody's ass inside the casino." And it blew her away. She didn't know that Tupac was that.
Well, that's the Tupac
Wow.
thing is absurd.
Yeah,
They're
that's
not-
crazy.
I
That's
don't get away
ridiculous.
on some other
Tupac
ones.
is Frank Sinatra, damn.
But she's born in 1990. She's born in 1990.
Well, that's a
shouldn't
young
even
girl
be-
for you to
you
be
shouldn't even be
hanging
hanging
out
out with girls
Yeah,
from
what's
the
Man,
90s.
I didn't find out until after we did it.
You stay on your,
my
God.
You stay on your R. Kelly shit.
That was more of a who else is named Kelly? I didn't pee on her because when I was peeing on a girl that was 14, I was 14 when I was peeing on girls that was 14.
Oh my god.
You know what? And I think this is a good time for us to wrap things up.
Okay.
Big
He
shout
doesn't
out
wrap it up.
to my man Jack Thriller. So to
All
in
my
closing,
disease is curable.
In closing, Sus, what do you think we can do, should do, and do you think that
I
these
think- I
young
told you-
rappers is it their responsibility to
I
know?
think it's everybody's responsibility. I think us as DJs, it's our responsibility. I think the radio stations, I think the magazines, the TVs, the internet blogs, you know, everybody should, and especially the current celebrities, because a lot of these artists that's popping right now, not all of them, like not these one-hit wonders, but a lot of the ones that's popping right now always express that who they listen to from the 90s and 80s and they're fans of.
I don't even believe a shit they say.
You know,
I
me
believe
neither.
they're all listening to them fucking selves all the time. They're telling you what they think is cool at the moment. Unless they start really spitting the stuff, sometimes to me it's like a lie.
They
I
just
know
say
what
it
I'm
'cause you're
supposed to tell
supposed to
you
say
that I
it.
listen to.
I think people should, well,
You know,
the
like
ones-
that. I know I'm supposed to say I listen to so and so, but I didn't really.
I feel
listen to
you. So the ones who are honest, like, you know, and don't wait till they die either. Like when Fife died, that's when Kendrick comes out and all these people come out.
None of them was fucking with Fife.
right.
None of
Let's
them was
be
fucking
honest.
with-
Well, I'm
Let's
going
call
with
a
what
spade
people
a
say.
spade.
We wasn't even fucking with Fife like that.
I was fucking with
Nah, I
Fife.
was fucking with Tribe.
I was
Man,
fucking with
Tip
Tribe.
is
I
the
was
bigger
fucking with
brand,
Q-Tip.
but I was fucking with Tribe Called Quest.
No, we was fucking with
Hey,
Tribe.
only reason why I was fucking with Fife at some points was when he was asking me, "You on point 5?" I just like saying, "You on point 5?"
Stop it.
Oh man, Jack, what
But
do you think? Oh, we
I
gotta
think,
finish
it's
this.
everybody's responsibility. That's it.
Jack Thriller. What do you think?
I think about what? About Fife or what? Who?
No, not about Fife. Rest in
Anything,
peace to
just your
Fife.
overall feeling.
Do
What
you
was
think-
thinking?
No, I don't think it's anybody's responsibility to badger these kids about who's hiding, who's not, and whatnot. I think that you gotta want to go learn that shit yourself. You gotta want to do it because that's the only way it's gonna be genuine, and you're gonna get exactly what you need, and you'll be able to keep up with a conversation with somebody who actually is a hip hop historian.
That's like saying, real quick, that's like saying don't teach the kids social studies because we don't want to learn that shit. We gotta teach.
But it's all the way on TV. It's inside your face. You know what I'm saying? The shit is right there. It's right there.
V, you got any closing comments?
I don't know. I'm still watching it all. I think it's interesting. I think the Esco moment was something that we hadn't really seen happen. You know, it was something totally was just a generational divide. But it's not going to be the last time that happens. No. And I'm not really sure. You know, it's our responsibility to figure out the best way to document this stuff or to teach or whatever. And I think I'm still figuring all of that out. You know, figuring out what they're supposed to know, what they aren't supposed to know. What are the expectations? You know, I mean, every kid that went on there didn't say, listen, I am a diehard hip-hop fan. They're just somebody who commented. I mean, if you're a diehard hip-hop fan and you claim that title, then you should know Esco. But if you're a casual hip-hop fan and you just want to talk some shit on Twitter, I don't know if I have to tell you, you need to know Esco. Where's the line of saying what you're supposed to know, what you're not supposed to know in life, you know? I think it depends on what you're labeling yourself as. You're a hip-hop editor, and there were editors definitely on Twitter who didn't know he was Esco from known publications. So that's a big factor too.
They also don't know how to edit, but that's another conversation.
But who they thought Esco was though?
They thought it was DJ Esco.
They thought it
who
was
the fuck is DJ Esco?
Exactly.
Future's DJ.
Is he that big?
For these kids,
kids, he's bigger than Nas' Esco.
He's the original Esco.
What did he do?
He did March Madness. Goddammit.
He made the beat.
Did he make the beat?
I'm not sure actually.
See, we don't even know what the fuck.
I know he's Future's DJ, and I know, you know.
How do you know that?
I mean, I DJ in the club.
I know
on
DJ
radio.
songs. I didn't know it. Wow.
I mean, they're name dropping him plenty. You know, I mean, it's not. He's getting name dropped by Future and in records and all over the place. Plenty. He's cool for the moment.
So he was never talking about Nas.
No, he was never talking about Nas.
No, nobody was ever talking.
Wow. I'm
Future.
old. I'm old. I'm sorry.
He thought Future was talking about Nas when he was shouting out Esco.
Yeah, the whole time. I like, who the fuck is DJ Esco?
What do we have you here for then?
Man, I'm sorry, man. I'm old, man.
Yo, Esco can't buy this type of promotion right now.
Oh, man.
Which
Shout
Esco?
out
Either one.
Shout out to Nas Escobar and
you know what's
DJ
interesting
Esco.
is if DJ Esco, which is Eskimo, Eskimo is spelled with a K. Mm-hmm. And I know he's playing off of other things, but if he would have called himself DJ Esco, ESKO, we would have been done right there. Sure. You know, people would have known, okay, Esco, SK, I think that's it. You know, so it is interesting. And when DJ Esco then made himself DJ Esco, did he know who Esco was and that he was being the second Esco?
Right.
And am I offending him or disrespecting him by saying he's the second Esco?
That's
but
another
I wonder
thing.
if he knew, or if maybe he said this and I missed it. Did he know and was like, yeah, I don't care about Esco. I'm going to name myself whatever. I'm the new Esco. Or I don't even know that dude, Nas's Esco or whatever it is. Like, where did the guy who named himself that?
True indeed. I think that same conversation happened with A$AP Rocky and A$AP Rocky.
I played this
A$AP
one today.
Rock,
B-Jeezy, G-Eazy,
Right.
Jeezy, Kanyeezy, Eazy-E. You know, it's where does the biting start and the homage stop or stop or start at all?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Listen, we want to hear from y'all, man. Drop us a comment in the comment section on this YouTube, on this podcast. Definitely let us know how you feel. Jack Thriller, let the people know where they can find your crazy
Jack
ass.
Thriller,
At
man.
whatever strip club is
Yeah,
going
at
on.
At
that
all the
night.
strip clubs, you find
Wherever
me
the
in the
midget
sex room.
strippers are.
Come on, man. What is it? _ the sex room at Jack Thriller, young Jack Thriller. ThisIs50.com and JackThriller.com.
Absolutely. Sus.
At DJ Sus1, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Of course, you can check me on Radio Power 105.1 or Sirius XM Hip Hop Nation. And make sure y'all check out thefeaturepresentation.com, which is a movie website. All the movie news and Hollywood news is there.
Absolutely.
So you can contact me.
Even though he didn't see the new Captain America joke.
Yeah, I'm more of a DC guy, but I'm gonna see it.
Hey, man, y'all over 40, man. Stop this.
Absolutely. Listen, you know you can find me at, man, Sirius XM Monday through Friday, Hip Hop Nation. Big shout out to my whole team over there. At
we doing
Torae
times?
on your Twitters, at Torae on your Instagrams. V, you want to?
I got nothing. I'm here.
That's it, man.
Yeah,
XXLmag.com. You know how we do it. Make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment, you let us know how you feeling, and join us next week as we do it all over again. Peace out.
All right.